Hi, I'm here with Matt Gourdin today, the Commercial Director at Faith in Nature. Hi Matt.
Hello.
Hello, thanks for taking the time to chat.
My pleasure.
I thought I'd come and have a chat with him today and meet him in this beautiful new office space. How long have you been here now?
So we've been here about a month.
Yeah.
We were based in Radcliffe. That's where our warehousing and our manufacturing is.
Yeah.
But this is where our sales and marketing team will be located in the city centre of Manchester.
Nice, and it's far removed from the space in Radcliffe, isn't it? I mean, it's beautiful, this.
It's very much on brand. It's a really lovely old building, but for us it feels very much at home, being a brand that's 48 years old and this kind of really whole heritage site that's listed, but equally some really modern touches. So we also feel quite nascent and entrepreneurial. So it really does feel like home.
Yeah, amazing. And there's been quite a bit of investment in the Radcliffe site recently, hasn't there? Because there's been some new development of the manufacturing facility.
Absolutely. So we're actually moving two sites from one side of Radcliffe to the other, and massively expanding our operations for future growth. So for us, that's really exciting, and we hope to be complete on that next year.
Amazing. Very exciting time to be at Faith in Nature.
Absolutely.
And we've probably been in touch more regularly since, I suppose, Faith in Nature and the journey here, because we've worked with one another on both sides of the fence. And I'm just kind of keen to explore that with you in a little bit more detail, because as everyone's aware, the recruitment industry doesn't have a particularly good name. And I'd like to think that we are very different to a lot of other recruitment companies out there. So I'd love just to explore that with you a little bit further to see how you've experienced working with us on both sides of the fence. Because how long have you been here now?
So I've been here a year to the day today.
It seems longer than a year.
It does, doesn't it?
It does seem longer than a year.
And for me, it's quite interesting because you talk about it then. I'd actually heard of Signature before then.
Okay.
Just from other people's experiences, although I'd never had any kind of direct dealings with you at that stage, but I'd heard really good things. So.
Oh, good.
From my experience and what I was hearing is that people really kind of warmed to everybody they spoke to at Signature, and the fact that you were always able to kind of talk to them about a role and just really understand people. So not just about the potential candidate, but having a really good understanding of the business and the people that work within that business, and trying to get the best fit for me is super important. And that's kind of the things that I was hearing. So actually when you got in touch, I'd already heard about that. So there's a kind of element of trust that already kind of been filtering around Signature, and therefore it was quite good having that conversation with you.
Yeah, that's great to hear, and we've invested quite a bit of time in the development of our team, because it's so important. People in any business, in my opinion, people are the most important part of any business. When it comes to recruitment, you've got to make sure that you get it right, and you've got to actually care, and that comes with really understanding the business that you're supporting, the people then that you're dealing with, and making sure that there's a match. We're not trying to shoehorn a square peg into a round hole here. It's about finding the right person for the right opportunity. So talk me through the experience then that you had, because of course we worked directly together on your appointment. So and what was your experience in working with us on that?
So my experience is that you'd already really done your research. You really knew what the business was, and you were really looking for a particular type of candidate. And I think you'd really done your research on me as well already, and you knew that I was a fit for that role. So for me, that was quite interesting, because I think my experience with so many other recruitment consultants is they ring you up and they're just like, got this great opportunity, and then they spend about 10 minutes telling you about the role, and it's like, that's just not me, and that's totally the wrong kind of business. And you have this awkward moment. It's like, I really just need to end this conversation because I'm wasting your time and I'm wasting my time, because they haven't done their research. And I feel like quite often that with recruitment consultants, they have this scattergun approach. And I had the complete opposite experience, having the conversations with you.
Oh, amazing. I'm really pleased that you found that was the experience that you had. That's great to hear. And we tried to take that long-term approach. And I think the problem with the industry, and the reason why I established Signature Career Management, 5 years ago nearly now, was because I'd experienced too many times people just having the short-term mindset and not thinking about the long-term effects in terms of business, candidates, clients, people in general. It takes a bit more effort, but worth it.
Yeah,
totally worth it.
Absolutely.
So tell us a bit more about Faith in Nature and what it's like to work here.
So Faith in Nature is a brand that's been around since 1974, set up by Rivka Rose, and for her it's all about making natural products accessible to people. Actually now that's so much more fashionable, and people are so much more engaged with natural products, brands that really put sustainability first, and that's what Faith in Nature is all about. Certified by Cruelty Free International, so we're vegan. Since 1999, we've been using 100% recycled and recyclable plastic in our bottles. That's a never-ending evolution and a path and a journey that we're continuing to go down as we find new technologies, etc. We spend a lot of our lives working, and I think that's really important for people, is that they actually feel that they're working for a business that's doing the right thing, and that's what Faith in Nature is all about, is that we're constantly challenging ourselves, that we're doing the right thing by nature. And we have a phrase here that nature is our boss, and we always ask ourselves, what would nature do? So for us, that's the kind of culture that we have here, and I think that's really exciting to lots of people to work for a brand with a real purpose.
I'd 100% agree with you. When we've obviously worked together since, and the feedback from myself speaking to candidates directly, and my team also speaking to candidates on your behalf, the feedback in the market on Faith in Nature is just fantastic, because you stand for something, you have purpose. It's an incredibly exciting brand to be a part of, and you're growing, you're adapting, you're changing, you're investing. This new office space is amazing. I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed working with the family when we were talking about your appointment, and of course you, as we've talked about, developing the wider team. And it would be great to hear from you how what your experience has been with us on the other side of the fence, because you do have a different experience. You've not just been working with me, you've been working with other members of the team as well.
Yep.
So if you perhaps could talk us through how we have supported you and what support you've needed, and the part that we played in that.
Absolutely. I think on one hand is, yes, I've got a different experience having worked with you on both sides of the table, so to speak, as a candidate, but also working with you to recruit people for the sales team. The great thing is that my experience is the same on both sides. And I think that's really important, because we're very aligned in how we think. So I want to make sure that we recruit the right people that are aligned to our values as a business and are going to be here for a long time and really have a fit within the team. I think having the conversations with you about the kind of people that we need and the skill set, you really take the time to understand us and understand what we're looking for in the right candidates. And I think that's so important, because once you understand that, I think it's then very easy for you to it's probably really hard for you to go and find the right candidate, but you make it very easy for me when you actually come with a selection of candidates for us to have conversations with. And I think that's so important, because the benefits of working with a really great recruitment consultant is that they can really cut down your time and look for the right kind of people that you know that actually will fit within your business. And I think actually that's the hardest thing to find, because quite a lot of people have the right skill set, but they won't actually have the right kind of values or align to what your business is. And the culture, for me, is the one thing that you have to get right within a business, particularly when you're growing and you're looking to kind of develop longer term over the future. So it's absolutely invaluable, I would say, to make sure you're getting that right from the outset, and to have a recruitment consultant like yourself that actually can minimise your time. I can't really put a value on that.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear. And because we do try and take, minimise your time that's spent on recruiting. You're not an expert in recruiting, we are. So let us take that away from you and give you peace of mind that we're going to be the people that are put in front of you. They're all pretty much suitable for the opportunity, because you're totally right. You can look at somebody on paper and think, oh, perfect. But if they don't have the same values, if they're not on the same page, then it's never going to work. You can't teach kind of that cultural fit and, attitudinal characteristics. You either have it or you don't.
Absolutely.
And so we spend a lot of time, obviously, networking and interviewing candidates to understand whether they're going to be the right fit or not.
And that really comes across. And I think if you can do that, then the understanding and the relationship becomes that much stronger, because I know that I can, if I've ever got another role, I would just come to you, because we already have that understanding, that relationship, and that trust, that you understand our business and my team, and therefore you'll find the right candidates.
Great. That's amazing. No, thank you for the feedback. That's awesome. And what have you found then to be the key differences? Because I assume in, previous lives you've worked with, other recruiters as well. Is it purely the time thing? Is it the level of detail that we take? I mean, what is it that you think are the key differences?
So I think for me, there's quite a few key differences, and I think we've all had the experience. I don't know whether you have as well, but almost on a weekly basis, I still get somebody emailing me going, "I've got this great candidate," and I'm just like, I'm not even advertising any roles, and that's so impersonal. And I think I have a real issue with that, particularly within a commercial team and a sales team. We're all about people, and I think it's so important that whoever you work with is almost like an extension of yourself, or has a really good understanding of you. So for somebody to kind of be quite impersonal, I know that I'm probably going to get a really impersonal person that they're suggesting. I want them to be able to interact, hold a conversation, and build great relationships with our customers. So therefore, I want to build great relationships with whoever I interact with. And I think that's absolutely integral in terms of building a successful team, is working with people you trust and understand you. That's where Signature kind of really differs from everybody else. They really do take the time to understand and build that trust up.
Yeah, it's really important. That's really important to us, and that's why we take so much time. I've worked in a number of different recruitment consultancies, obviously before setting up Signature 5 years ago. And we take so much time to understand a brief and get to know a business and the people within it before going out into marketing and recruiting, which not a lot of other agencies do. And I think it's that upfront work, as you say, that enables us to actually filter through and get the right candidates, because we don't want to waste your time or the candidates' time either, and put them through a process where it's just not right for them, or they're not right for the brand isn't right for them. Yeah. For us, this is about long term, and not just supporting you in one appointment today, but an appointment in a year, 2 years, 5 years time, and building that longer term partnership. It works for everybody. The candidates get a better experience, you get a better experience. It's better for us.
Yeah, and that really comes across. And I think for me, it's just that level of work you do. And I think the other thing to mention for me is that I've also been on the other end where I've worked with internal talent teams. I think that's the other thing for me, is just I think you're really great at scouring a lot of people and finding the right talent, because I think talent teams as well they're quite challenged, because they might be actually looking for lots of different people in different sectors, and therefore they don't really have an understanding of the kind of market. And I think that's from my experience of years, that you already probably know about 10 people that you probably want to go and speak to when I talk to you about a role, which I never had, either with talking with another recruitment consultant or actually talking to an internal talent team, because they just don't have that level of experience or that contact book.
Yeah, that's a really good point you make, actually. I mean, we're a team, the team today is 11, and all we do is FMCG recruitment, purely within sales and marketing. So that's 11 people that are dedicated to one industry across 2 specific disciplines within that industry. It's really important for us to be able to develop a network. So a lot of the time, the team are actually speaking with people in the market that aren't actively looking for roles, that aren't actively recruiting, so that we're developing our network, so that when a prospective candidate is looking for an opportunity, we know who to put them in touch with, and vice versa, when you're looking for someone, to your point, we can already think of about 10 people that would be a brilliant fit for what you're looking for. And internal talent teams are great because they know the business like the back of their hand. But again, to your point, they're not just recruiting in marketing, in sales, but supply chain and finance and HR. And how on earth can you really have the time to develop a network? You can't. I still don't have the time to get into the granular detail that I would ideally like to within sales and marketing, and there are still more people that we will bring on into the business to recruit within sales and marketing in the UK, and there's already 11 of us, so you can see how important we place on it, I guess.
And I think it's a really good thing to mention, that is that I've been in a number of circumstances where I've relied on a talent team and then actually had to go to a recruitment consultant because they couldn't find who I was after. So I think, to anybody that's in that situation, I'd definitely recommend Signature. And I think, you talk about the 11 people in your team, and I've worked with you and I've worked with Tom, and I know my team has spoken to other people, is that there's no difference in service between you. And I think that's so important because, quite often you can speak to a founder or a director of a recruitment consultant and you have an amazing service, but then you just get palmed off because actually you were then talking to them about a role that's slightly less junior, and therefore, that actually is like, oh, that ships down to somebody else, and you get a different service. I think for me, my experience is that the service is the same, whoever you speak to at Signature, and I think you've done an incredible job in terms of building a team that understands what the vision is for your business, and therefore everybody is aligned when they come to speak to myself or when it's other members of my team. Then they get exactly the same treatment and understanding, and we talk about building that relationship and building up the levels of trust.
Yeah, amazing. And we've really worked hard at that. So thanks for recognising that. And our vision as a company, as big as it is to become the most trusted recruitment company in the world. And why not have a big goal like that?
Yeah.
Trust is everything. We've worked really closely together to build that trust and that partnership, which has then enabled us to recruit various different people within your team. So talk us through the appointments then that we've helped you with.
It's a really interesting question, actually, because I think you obviously placed me, but you've helped us with a number of different roles. You actually recruited my boss as well, so thank you for that. And you've obviously helped with a number of different roles within our sales team in terms of international roles, e-commerce roles, a really kind of broad spectrum.
Yeah, great. And obviously the team is set up to recruit across the entire mix of sales and marketing, whether it's e-commerce or wholesale or mults.
Yep.
It's really important to note that the team are all set up to distinguish between them all as well, because just somebody might say, I'm looking for a national account manager, but again, we're going back to the detail. What does that actually mean? What account are they working on? And just because somebody's an expert within, grocery retail, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be great in doing an e-commerce account management role or, a wholesale role. So
absolutely.
So what does the future look like then, do you think, for Faith in Nature?
I think once you've got a really strong team in place, then it gives you the real opportunity to focus on the strategic. And I've come from working in some really small entrepreneurial businesses where they say, actually, if you recruit the right people, then you don't need a HR department. So I think where we are now is that we've got a really strong team in place, and we can really focus on the future and the strategic growth of the business. So for me, that's super exciting. And there's lots of things that we're talking about and we've been working on that we're probably in a place to talk about soon, but can't quite tell you about now.
Yeah, nice. So thanks so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Matt. It's been really good to see the building and the new office space. It's been great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the business develops in the future.
Excellent. I look forward to telling you about it.
Good.